pastor. And you know what the truth is and what is being propagated out there. You will come to realize as this matter develops that actually what they have done is they have called a pastor a dog's name and they are planning to kick him. On absolutely no basis, on absolutely no evidence, on absolutely unreasonable expectations that a person should be held in custody for 30 days so that they can keep him in custody and produce what you call pressure, release pressure. Why? Because they are under siege right now. That's what the administration is under. They have tried to associate the pastor with somebody else who they have no relationship apart from one small transaction that did not go through. Why? So that they can be able to tell the public that they are doing things. You have seen them making noise and saying that these people should not be released on bond. That is a public relations exercise. It becomes a public relations exercise because they have questions to answer about a matter that is not related to the pastor. But so what do? Arrest him na atajitoa mbele ama ataeleza mambo. What do they want him to explain? Administration expects to prove this case. When they have done no investigation, they have done nothing. These are just mere allegations. Nothing has any proof. But again, as we are saying, it's a public relations exercise so that they can, what can I say, distract everybody else from the actual facts. They bring in political angles. They try to bring in other stories. But let me tell you today, you speak to the pastor, you look at the grounds, you look at the evidence, you look at the facts, you look at the allegations. There is no relationship of any kind at all. You have been told that the pastor and the Pastor Mackenzie on the other side are doing business together. Maybe they run business together. Maybe they are running grounds that are next to each other. We will go to the ground. You'll be able to see that all these allegations about burials, about graveyards in compounds, about places where people can be hidden and where people can be enclosed and where people can be abducted and kept do not exist. I repeat again, do not exist. It cannot be possibly done, and therefore today we shall demystify that story. You will note that it is hot air, actually hot air. Sometimes it is so totally unfair that the same law can be used to punish somebody. If the pastor had done anything, remember, all these years, the governors are in place, the police officers are in place. These things never came out. These stories were not there. So they are created. And then what happens? Instead of investigating them and then arresting a person if there is a crime, you arrest a person and then you ask for time to go and investigate. How fair is that? How do you compensate the days this person has been in custody and when these allegations come out not to be true? It is the same law that they are going under the Article 49(1)(g) of the Constitution, trying to say that they are holding somebody and they'll explain why they are holding him. But how fair is it? Right now they have taken him to court without a charge sheet. And what are they saying? They want to go and investigate all these offenses that we have mentioned. Do they even exist? Are you calling that dog, as I said, a bad name so you can kick it? Are they trying to look for something so that they can charge him with to justify why they are holding him? It is the time, a high time right now, that when an allegation has been made, investigate. Let's do it like other civilized countries. Investigate and then call the person, release him as you still investigate. When he has given you his side of the story, do not put him in custody. If you are saying he's going to interfere with witnesses and such people, has he interfered with any? Has he shown any indication that he's going to do that? There is nothing like that is existing. Allow somebody to be outside to enjoy his freedom, because those freedoms are not there for the purpose of just being there. The fundamental rights are there to protect these people against this kind of allegations.
As my learned colleague has said, these are the 15 points that the country needs to know on Pastor Ezekiel, who is now behind police bars. 1. Pastor Ezekiel moved to Mavueni in Kilifi 1 year, 1 month ago. He has never been in Kilifi running a church for longer other than 1 year. and 1 month. Number 2, the distance between Shakahola and where the church of Pastor Ezekiel is a distance of over 200 kilometers. They don't share the border. So if bodies were being transported from pastor's church, then they were transported 200 kilometers away. Pastor Ezekiel has never been to Shakahola all his life, even doesn't know where it is. And we'll be asking the police to get us the call data from his phones to confirm that all his life he has never been to Shakahola. Fourth, over the telephone still, Pastor Ezekiel has only communicated 2 to 3 times on phone by Pastor Mackenzie. We'll give the police a mandate for them to produce any form of communication between Pastor Mackenzie and Pastor Ezekiel. The transaction which I'm heading to was purely for a contract, an agreement to buy a TV station. Fourth, all the preaching by Pastor Ezekiel is on YouTube. It's live. There is no message for radicalization. It's a live transmission, and therefore that alleged offense is non-existent. Sixth, Pastor, they have only met once during the transaction of the sale of the TV station. Let me deal with the question of the TV station. An attempt was made to buy the TV station. Pastor Ezekiel deposited 500,000 shillings as a deposit. The agreed transactional fee was 3 million shillings. That deal never worked. That deal never worked. A mere transaction between a willing buyer and a willing seller does not constitute a crime at all. It does not generate the type of lies being generated that Pastor Mackenzie and Pastor Ezekiel have close proximity. Sixth, Pastor Ezekiel has allowed us to take the media to the church so that the truth of the matter is brought up. What are we expecting to see there? The church has a compound. It does not have a place for people to walk in and sleep. The policy of Pastor Ezekiel's church is that only people who come in can sleep in those facilities after paying 500 shillings per day. That is the policy of that institution. The policy goes further to say you can only be allowed to stay in that church premise, that hostel, to a maximum of 5 days. So there is nobody going to stay there for 1 year. Biologically, even if anybody is fasting 5 days, nobody will die. Pastor Ezekiel's clients or customers or congregation, only 0.5% come from Kilifi County. 35% are foreigners coming from the US, Dubai, Uganda, Germany, England, USA. And the rest, around 72, come from regions outside Kilifi County. This is an international place. Within the premises, there is a hotel, a restaurant where people eat, classified in terms of VIP, classified in terms of affordability. Pastor Ezekiel, within that premise, has an international school with 10 students. 2 are day scholars. 8 are boarders. The school is 3 months old. The place which we are going to visit is being built into a model city with modern facilities, with CCTV footages, with well-lit streetlights, with tarmac, and with the cabro pavements. That is not the place that everybody is saying that people have died. In the 1 year and 1 month that the institution has been in existence, a total of around 15 people have died within Pastor Ezekiel's premises. The policy of the church is that only people, if a patient is coming who is very sick for prayers and for miracles, that person will not be allowed in unless accompanied. Once these people die, the family person accompanying them, some of them are brought in buses, they have already died, they are being brought and almost a dead person and pronounced dead. The policy is that those who have died, the family members take them to take that report. We'll give the number of all the 15 OBs that the police have. No death has occurred that the police have not been involved. None of those deaths have been reported by the church. It is the family members who bring these people and they report, they go and bury their dead. The church has never done, and none from those 15 people that we have said have died there has died out of fasting. As we move further, the policy of the church, as I've said, no child is allowed within the church premises without being accompanied by a parent. That is the position. So any child coming to the institution must be accompanied by a parent, or else entry is restricted. Let us look at the security arrangement between Pastor Ezekiel's church and the national security organs. The area chief's office is 500 meters away from the church of Pastor Ezekiel. And at the chief's place, there are administration police officers. Is 1 kilometer away from the church of Pastor Ezekiel. If there is any death or any incident that is peculiar, the OCS or the police officers there would have known. So in terms of security arrangements, as we have put it, it is completely false to link this to Shakahola. As we move further, the congregation of Pastor Ezekiel, There are congregations. The church is built to have a capacity to hold 43,000 people at one sitting. Every time these congregations are there, the police Land Rover, the OCS, puts, because of the large number of people that are coming there, every time there is such a congregation, the police Land Rover with uniformed police officer and civilian armed police officers and regular patrols 24 hours are at the guard of that church. There is nobody who has been detained in this place. A narrative has been put about a funeral home, a mortuary called Milele. Milele does not border the church. It's not near Pastor Ezekiel's church. It is 10 kilometers away. The church of Ezekiel, the administrators of that church, Ezekiel himself has never booked anybody at Milele mortuary. He has never even been there. So we shall be asking the police to provide data when Pastor Ezekiel ever stepped in Milele mortuary. That is a private entity, completely disassociated with the church of Pastor Ezekiel. Does Pastor Ezekiel have property acquired fraudulently? We have been given all the title deeds owned by Pastor Ezekiel's church. Pastor Ezekiel donates food. A few days ago, he had donated food to Turkana. He has given food to Mombasa County. He has given food donations to the whole country. He has a hotel. Is that a person ready to starve people? And he runs a food chain and he donates food? That is a serious issue that we need the police to put very, very clearly to perspective. When we look at Pastor Ezekiel, this term that started, he took more